Realme has been lightning quick with its P series updates. Less than a year since its inception, we already are on the third generation model. But this Realme P3 Pro is actually incredibly impressive for the price. In fact, value for money has not been Realme's forte of late, but this P3 Pro completely changes that. You can actually call it the Realme 14 Pro Plus Lite, if that makes sense. So, before I tell you all about this phone, kindly smash that subscribe button to keep up with the latest in tech. Okay, so the moment I unboxed the P3 Pro, it was obvious that it shares almost every design cue with the Realme 14 Pro Plus. From the dimensions to the button layout and even the subtle curves on the front and the rear, both devices look like twins. This is pretty awesome since you are essentially getting the quality in-hand feel of the Realme 14 Pro Plus but at a more affordable price point. The P3 Pro is probably the best built smartphone in its segment despite being made of plastic. Obviously, the camera island is different because there isn't much emphasis on the cameras on this thing, but we'll talk about it later. So, the Realme 14 Pro Plus launched with a silly party trick, where putting it in icy water changed its rear pattern. Well, the P3 Pro has a bespoke party trick of its own. This Nebula Glow colorway absorbs UV light and glows at night with this trippy texture. Realme says it mimics ultraviolet light interacting with oxygen atoms in space. Now, I'm not really sure about the space part, but yes, this looks super psychedelic. But if this is too much for you, then worry not, because subtler color options are on offer as well. The P3 Pro is quite durable too. It features Gorilla Glass 7 eye protection on its display and offers up to an IP69 rating for water and dust resistance. Let's move on to the display now, which is quite great as well. By the way, this is also the same display as the Realme 14 Pro Plus. So, you get a 6.83-inch AMOLED panel which is quad micro-curved. You also get symmetrical bezels, which is quite a big deal on an affordable smartphone like this one. The display also has a 120Hz refresh rate, but its implementation is not particularly good because even after forcing 120Hz, some apps still ran on 90 or 60Hz. Anyway, this display has a good enough HBM brightness of 1200 nits. Plus, it is also HDR10 and Widevine L1 certified. Adding to the multimedia experience are dual stereo speakers. They are quite loud and offer decent bass, but the top end can sound quite harsh at high volumes. I suggest capping the audio at around 70% for the best audio experience. Let's now talk about this phone's performance. This phone is powered by the Snapdragon 7S Gen 3 chip, which, as you've guessed, is also used on the Realme 14 Pro Plus. The 7S Gen 3 is not particularly a powerful chipset for the 14 Pro Plus, but for the P3 Pro segment, it is quite good. It managed to score around 8.3 lakh points on AnTuTu. Its CPU stability performance is also pretty impressive when put under stress. The 7S Gen 3 is also perfectly capable of playing BGMI at 90 FPS. But best of all, we noticed no frame drops or overheating during our 30-minute gaming session. You can also bypass charging to keep temperatures in check while gaming. On the software front, there is Realme UI 6 built on top of Android 15. Typical of most Realme phones, there are loads of pre-installed apps here and those infamous hot apps and games folder as well. However, as a whole, the UI is pretty smooth to navigate by segment standards, which is aided by UFS 3.1 storage. The haptics on this device are also quite impressive for the price, which make typing and scrolling quite enjoyable. Realme UI 6 also has some pretty useful AI features, especially for photo editing and writing in the Notes app. Then you also have a handy AI language translator here. Alright, it's time to shift focus on the camera system, which is in fact the only major area where the P3 Pro differs from the Realme 14 Pro Plus. It does not get ultra-wide and telephoto sensors. The three cutouts you see in the camera island include a flash, a 50-megapixel primary sensor, plus a fairly pointless 2-megapixel depth sensor. The good news is that the primary sensor is the same Sony IMX896 with OIS as seen on the 14 Pro Plus. There is Hyper Image Plus post-processing as well. I was thoroughly impressed by this camera's detail retention and dynamic range across multiple scenarios. There is also a portrait mode with good bokeh drop-off and edge detection, but colors do appear muted in this mode. Nighttime shots also turn out to be great for a mid-range smartphone. This sensor can take 4K 30fps videos as well, but there is literally no stabilization at 4K. Details remain quite decent though. Selfies from the 16-megapixel front camera are quite impressive in terms of sharpness and skin tones. Moving on, This smartphone has a huge 6000 mAh battery, which ensures you'll get around 9 hours of screen time with medium use, which is fantastic. To top it off, the P3 Pro also supports super quick 80-watt fast charging and comes with a bundled adapter as well. And there you have it. The Realme P3 Pro is definitely one of the most impressive launches of this year. That is because it does most of the things right while feeling more expensive than what it really is. Sure, not having an ultra-wide camera is definitely a major drawback. Still, if you're on a hunt for a mid-range smartphone that punches above its weight, look no further.